Hey, what's going on, sports fans? How you doing? Now, I know March Madness is upon us. I'll definitely wait till later in the week to talk about some of my thoughts in terms of filling out the bracket and all that. But there was another big story that happened. What was it the other day? The Bears made a decision that could possibly change the top of the NFL draft that I definitely want to talk about. Now, if you didn't see it, just to, I guess, remind you, the Bears traded the number one pick. Now, I talked about previous episode some time ago that I thought what the Bears should do would be to trade the pick, get more picks because they have a lot of needs. Try to fill as many of them as you can through the draft, as well as free agency, of course, because they do have the largest cap space available in the league. So if they play their cards right, work free agency, work the draft correctly, the Bears could be set up to be really, I guess, markedly improved next season. So they traded it to the Panthers, who are at 9. The Panthers have to be looking at this as, I feel like every team at the top knew the Bears were most likely going to move the pick, unless they were wild enough to take Mike Tannenbaum's advice when he was on not first take, might have been first take, but he basically said the Bears should trade Fields, take quarterback X at number one. This has to symbolize that clearly that's not part of the Bears' plans. I will talk about a little bit later what the Bears' options are, sitting at 9. But I think the first question is, did the Bears make the right decision? As I just mentioned, to me, they did. I know that there were some Bears fans who were probably hoping that the Bears would do what Tannenbaum said, trade Fields, draft whoever at number one. But I ultimately think this was the right decision. I do not think Justin Fields was to blame for their lack of success last season. He was behind a below average offensive line. The skill positions around him, below average. The defense, probably middle of the road. So, looking at that surrounding Justin Fields, like how successful would you really think he was going to be? So that's why I believe what they should do is commit to Fields, because Fields was the guy who, coming out in his draft class, when he started sliding down the board, just to be honest with you, I've said I like Mac Jones, but I actually thought the scenario would come up that the Patriots had to choose between Fields and Jones. And I'll sit here to this day, and I seriously believe Belichick would have taken Fields over Jones. But that's neither here nor there. So I'm a big fan of Justin Fields. I want to see him do well. I want to see the Bears do right by him. So, yes, with all the talk about them possibly moving Fields, whatever with this pick, ultimately, I think the Bears made the right decision. So I have to give them, props for that. I know there's been people saying they didn't get enough for the pick. Look, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know the value of picks and whether they got correct value and all that. Whatever. But I will say the Bears also got DJ Moore out of it. So wide receiver was a need. They got a young wide receiver. DJ Moore's probably remembered for last season, the game against the Falcons, when he caught the crazy touchdown pass, ripped off his helmet, which ultimately cost them. So, not the brightest moment, hopefully, of his career, but at least the Bears got a wide receiver out of it. That means maybe their need for wide receiver gets pushed back to maybe one of the middle rounds. We'll see what the Bears do with that. But now looking at the other side, Panthers had the number one pick. Who do they pick? What are their options here? You'd have to think with them moving from 9 to 1, there has to be a quarterback that they've locked in on. That through their intel wouldn't have been there for them at 9, because there are some teams ahead of them who could possibly draft a quarterback. Also, with Houston at 2, consensus is Houston's going to take a quarterback. So possibly the quarterback that they think the Texans would take would be the one that they would want. So you move to 1, you get it out of the way right away. I'm assuming they're going up to 1 to probably take Stroud or Young. So if that's the case, fine. Because we know with the Panthers, their defense is improving. I feel like a lot of people feel like their defense will be top 10 this upcoming season. Offensively, we know that there's big questions at quarterback because they have Sam Darnold, they have Matt Corral. Does that wow you? I know the Sam Darnold part doesn't. Corral we didn't see, so we don't really know how good he is. But if you have the opportunity to get Stroud or Young, you feel like one of those guys would be better than Corral, then you go with them. Here's another twist to this. What if the Panthers moved up to number 1 to not necessarily take a quarterback? What if they fell in love with Will Anderson to add him to the defense? Maybe they really like Matt Corral. Then kind of go that way with their draft. Would I be mad at that? Not really. For most people, Will Anderson is the best prospect coming out. So why not go ahead and get him? Maybe they build a defensive-oriented team. They give Corral the year to prove whether or not he can do it. That doesn't mean they couldn't necessarily use a pick later on a quarterback. Maybe I don't want to use this. I feel like every time I talk about the draft, I use the same name. Hendon Hooker, who's a guy, ACL surgery. Not a lot of people know what he'll look like coming off of that. Could they draft him 3rd round possibly if he's still there? You bring him in. He rehabs. Once he gets healthy, it becomes a quarterback competition. Who knows? But I feel like the Panthers, with this type of move, they're looking at this division as wide open. Once again, I've talked about this before. Bucks, no Tom Brady, a lot of question marks because they have cap issues they have to figure out. Saints signed Derek Carr, yes. So right now, the quarterback position, the Saints look like they're in the best position, but the Saints have their own cap issues, so we don't even know what the team will look like around him. Falcons, still rebuilding. They have Desmond Ridder at quarterback. The jury's still out on him. Their defense still needs work. Plus, their offense could use some dynamic players. Carolina, if their defense progresses, like I said, depending on who they take at 1, will kind of let us know maybe the direction that they're going for this season. But it's not crazy to think the Panthers possibly win that division this year. So I'm all for the Panthers going for it. Try to establish something. Maybe for the next couple of years, maybe you're the best situation in that division. Put yourself in the playoffs, kind of see what happens. I think for both teams it made sense. I know some people thought maybe the Bears trade with the Colts. Colts sitting at 4? Because the Colts need a quarterback, which kind of played into the Panthers. If the Panthers want a quarterback, move up to 1 makes sense for the guy that they possibly want. Because between 1 to where they were at 9, Texans were taking 1, Colts most likely taking 1. I mean, the Raiders at 7 could take 1. So who knows? Now, after this trade, the Bears have quite a accumulation of picks. They have 9, 53, 61, 64, 103, 133, 136, 150, 219, 259. They may not even take all those picks because with a lot of them being so close together, they can now use those to move all around this draft with them needing probably so much. They'll be in a position to take best player available pretty much every one of these picks. So if there's a player that's there that they've targeted, they could use some of these picks, move up, move back. You know, they should be active, I would think, come draft day. If it's not moving around, then if they're taking all these picks, especially those like 61, 64, then 133, 136, 150, you're going to hear their name quite a bit. As I mentioned again earlier, with the cap space, draft capital now, hard to think that the Bears messed this up. But now that goes to the Bears front office. Can they just keep doing, I guess, the correct stuff here? Now, free agency gets started on Wednesday. We'll see who they're rumored to be going after and all that. But if I'm Justin Fields, I'd be excited about what the Bears are doing because it could mean that you'll have a bunch of new players coming in to hopefully make your season that much better next year. Unless, what if the Bears still plan on trading Justin Fields? So maybe the Bears think the quarterback that they want would be there at 9. So why take him at 1 when, as you see, you can trade back? You got more picks for it. If you think he'll be there at 9, you could take him at 9. Now, could that be Anthony Richardson, who's one of the darlings coming out of the weekend, the combine weekend? Could they do that? Take Richardson at 9, trade Fields during the draft, trade him a little after, I don't know, do whatever at that point. Would that be a move the Bears make? I don't think they do it, but it would be kind of interesting. Because for all we know, all we do know is that Anthony Richardson is moving up draft boards. Now, how high exactly, we don't know. So is it wild to think Richardson's still available at 9? No, not really. But we'll see. The draft is about was it like a month and a half? I think it's like 40 something days away. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of rumors between now and then as well. But that's something that I did think about. Whether or not this could actually signify that Fields isn't safe yet. And the Bears could still potentially trade him to draft Richardson or Levis or whoever they fell in love with. And just for the other side, the Panthers now have 139, 93, 114, 132, and 145. Not a lot of picks. If this stays the same, their time at the draft will end pretty early. I believe 145 is round 4. So we'll see. The Panthers probably have some more moves up their sleeves. Probably to get some more draft picks. They did move on from DJ Moore. Would one of these picks be a wide receiver? Do they have a wide receiver that they're looking at in free agency? Who knows? But I am so excited for free agency to get started. Like I said, I believe it's Wednesday. I do think there's going to be a lot of teams going to be active early into free agency. Plus, we know a lot of people are still watching the Lamar Jackson situation. So I think free agency is going to be wild here for it. Any more big news happens, I will be here to, give you my opinion on it. I do know as of recording this, the Rams apparently traded Jalen Ramsey to the Dolphins for Hunter Long and a 3rd-round pick. So the Rams are making moves. The Rams also have their own salary cap issues. I think they released Leonard Floyd as well. So there could be some moves coming from the Rams that may catch my eye. But you let me know, how excited are you for free agency? Let me know who your team is and what do you hope they do in free agency. Yeah, let me know that down in the comment section. We can go back and forth. As I said, I'm a Patriots fan. My hope for free agency: sign a tackle. I'd say re-sign Jonathan Jones, amongst other things. But I'll say that for another episode. So thanks for tuning in. Really hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, you know what you need to do. Hit the like button, subscribe, share. I'd really appreciate it. But until the next episode, I'll say be safe, God bless, and I'll catch you next episode. All right? Have a good day.